back. How you doing, YouTube? We're back here with episode 7. Welcome to Scars to Success.
Yes, sir.
For our new viewers, I'm Demontrae.
I'm Donald.
And I'm Keyah.
This is going to be a good one. So make sure you like this video, comment, make sure you share.
Let your people know for real. We got a new camera just for y'all.
Yeah, so the quality going to be busting on this episode.
Like, just appreciate us. You know, it takes time a little bit, but that's because we're actually working and we're actually doing things. So we're just trying to get that information to y'all. But let's put the focus on you, Keyah. Could you give us a proper introduction into who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. First off, thank you to Brothers for welcoming me and having me here at your podcast and just in your guys' space in the vicinity. It's so beautifully set up. I'm so honored to be here, Donald. I remember you talking about this and to see it in fruition, to be sitting here with you both is just a blessing. It's amazing. So I'm just blessed to be here. I'm very happy. But my name is Keyah Brown, and I am born and raised in Sacramento, California, South Sacramento to be specific, 24th and 50th, to Elk Grove. My mom moved us to Elk Grove when I was in about 6th grade. I remember she bought this brand new house. And when we got there was nothing behind us but like dirt fields. And I didn't really understand what was going on at the time because, you're just a kid.
Right.
There was all these skeleton houses being built around us. And for years, we watched the whole neighborhood get built up. We were the only Black people on the block. My mom was a single mom and just did her thing. She had me at Pleasant Grove High School. Shout out to PG. Go Eagles. I hated Pleasant Grove. Hated it. Going there, the social aspect. But academically, it challenged me and prepared me in ways that were really beneficial. I found out later on. I'm 30 years old. I graduated from Tuskegee University. I attended Sac State for about a year. That was an experience. I really left that. I'll talk about that.
Singers up.
And I recently just graduated from Morehouse School of Medicine with my master's in biotechnology. So that's that. Thank you. I currently teach at Grant Union High School. I worked previously with Donald organization where we were helping students get to HBCUs from California.
And we're not going to give them no shout out.
No credit. So, helping students get to Black colleges from California and the importance of making sure that students were aware that they could get to schools where they could have their degrees fully funded or meet different people who looked like them of all different shades, sizes, backgrounds, in an area where, our people were at for the longest. Where we at. I didn't grow up in the South.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't grow up saying yes, ma'am, no, sir, yes, sir, whatever. But I loved my experience there, and I ended up coming back to California and helping students get the same opportunity to just, get out of Sacramento at least. Get out of Sac, see something, go for a semester. If you don't like it, you can always come back, always come back. Which led to me working right now at Grant Union High School teaching 9th grade science, biology, the living earth. At Grant, I am also an advisor to a club called Black Girls Rock. And I am excited because it's a club that's been around for a while. They do a lot in the community. And I feel like I'm kind of stepping into some big shoes. So I'm like, okay. But I just pray, honestly. And I know God got my back. And there are people who trusted me and put me in these positions. So that's just what I'm doing currently. That's just a little bit about me.
We'll taste. Hey, and it's really good to see people who are that accomplished and just keep striving for more. And that's just within the energy that you exude. It's like, I'm willing to be the master. I'm also willing to be the student. Just learn and connect and use that as a bond with your community and those around you. So you have a really infectious spirit and energy that you provide, and we're excited to get into it.
Hey, thank you. Likewise.
Okay. All right. So, being a big proponent of truth to power and being educated, what or who would you say really influenced you to be this way?
Ooh, definitely my mother. My mother, at different times in my life as I got older, my father. My dad, he is a PhD as well, a PsyD. He's a psychologist, an organizational development psychologist from Brooklyn. And him and my mom, it's interesting. He came out here, married my mom when he was my age. He was 30. My mom was like 23. And my mom at the time was the breadwinner. They ended up separating, and my dad really turned on something different. Saw that, saw him go back to school and get degree after degree after degree, and kind of just change his mindset, more than anything. Um, but definitely, like early on, it was my mother. And I tell my students, y'all doing summer school this summer? Yeah, we doing summer school. I'm like, okay, good. I was in summer school every summer. And I hated it. My mom made me do it because, you know, she wanted me to be successful. She wanted me to strive for excellence, and she wanted me to achieve as much as I could in a way that I didn't believe in myself as a kid. I feel like in Sacramento, education can be so traumatizing at times. Nobody tells us that you can be a doctor or you can be a lawyer or you can be this. Like, you know, and I don't want to say nobody tells you that. If you're in certain spaces, you might hear that. But if you're not, you don't think that high.
That's right.
In a school like Pleasant Grove, they especially don't tell you black guys that. There's another number. So another what is that? Affirmative action. Another another person in the diversity pool. But I would say my mother and my father, and um, I would even say like the quote, my favorite quote by Malcolm X, which is education is the passport to the future, where tomorrow belongs to those who prepare today. And that always made me think it didn't have to even be education in the form of like academia, but educating yourself about anything.
Yeah.
Because if you educate yourself about something, you can be prepared for different things that lie in front of you. It was beneficial because I saw my grades turn around as I got older. I teach freshmen, and freshmen really don't care. They don't get it when they first come in. You really got to help them lock in. You know what I mean? You got to pass this class to graduate. You don't, you'll be in here again, or you'll be with another teacher who probably might not care as much as I do. Or you'll be in summer school, or you won't be graduating on time. Whatever the case may be. Um, the benefit is that you get to see if you don't really care, you're kind of mediocre in school, or you just got things going on, you get to see your grades and your GPA change, where it's like, you know what? I did go back and I sat down and I was disciplined and I was bored over the summer. Yeah. So I had to get up early in the morning and be there all afternoon. I got off earlier than a regular school day, but I tell them, like, pass this class so you don't have to be here this summer.
Don't waste no more time.
You can, plan to do things and go on trips and, whatever you want to do. Why retake this? But at the same time, if you need that discipline, get it in. It's not like you really are going to grasp that material in 2 weeks. But it's the thing of having to sit down and be intentional with a teacher who really doesn't care. They're getting paid pretty good either way.
Regardless whether you show up or not.
But, yeah, I would say that's it. Catching up and watching your grades turn around and knowing that if you are disciplined, you stick to it, that you can do it. I remember there was a year I didn't get into summer school at Pleasant Grove because I was following my friends. And my mom was like, get up and go to school. And I was like, no, I'm gonna wait for such and such. I'm gonna go to her house first, and then we're gonna all go together. when we all went, all my friends got in and I didn't. You know? And then I'm sitting there looking down. And I remember I had to go to Elk Grove. And that was a weird experience, you know, because it was a whole different school. I had to catch the bus, I think, to get there. I don't remember what was going on. And that was an experience that I actually appreciated because I had to get there, you know, and pass the class. It was important. Great question. When and how? So I knew when HBCU was for me when I was young. I remember my cousin and my auntie talking about Spelman and how my little cousin was going to go to Spelman. Ashlyn's going to Spelman. She's going to an all-girls college. Ashlyn ended up going to Tuskegee University, TU, you know. She met her husband there, her four beautiful kids, my little cousin. But I knew I wanted to go when I was younger. And I remember just hearing about Black colleges. I remember seeing the movie Drumline when I was in fourth grade that came out. That was very influential. When I was in ninth grade, I think Stomp the Yard came out. It was a lot of Sierra and Yin Yang Twins and Franchise Boys and Soldier Boy and who else? So much Rich Boy, who went to Tuskegee as well. Shout it out. So much stuff. I remember so much Black Southern music coming out that was just out here. That was on the radio heavy at the time. The radio was different when I was in ninth grade. By the time I got to 12th grade, I was sick. Horrible. I watched it like literally transition to something crazy. But just that culture was so influential. And then I got a chance to go out my senior year, spring break. My mom took me to Spelman Clark and Tuskegee. And for some reason, I knew I was going to FAMU, right? I thought I wanted to go to Shaw. And in fact, now that I think about it, my mom took me when I was in ninth grade to Johnson C. Smith in Charlotte, North Carolina. My aunt on my dad's side, she graduated from there. She was a nurse. Okay. And
excellent.
I knew like I just wanted to go to a Black college. I knew, especially going to Pleasant Grove, that wasn't it. Yeah, that was not it. I didn't feel a connection. I, was president of Black Student Union over there. We started a step club. I was on the track team, sprint captain, which is the Black people on the team, and we was like, down at Pleasant Grove. It was bad because it was a white school. They were like, "What are y'all doing? Who are you guys?
Not good.
What is happening?" But I knew it was for me when I was 17 for the first time, flew down to Atlanta and got off the plane and was in this completely different climate, and seeing everybody that was Black as hell walking through, the airport.
The majority.
Then, just driving around and seeing how different and kempt the streets were, not paved pavements or cut grass. And it was different. I remember going to Spelman and being like, at the time, I'm coming from Pleasant Grove. So at the time I was like, these girls are either too bougie or they're too Afrocentric. It's hilarious. Yeah.
Like, why are those the only two mediums?
Like, and I didn't like it. I just didn't like it. I stepped on Clark campus and, I'm going to be respectful, Clark, but I didn't like what I saw. I was coming from the suburbs of Elk Grove, and Clark is in SWAT, Southwest Atlanta, right across the street from Morehouse School of Medicine. And it was not even that, but both the schools were in the city of Atlanta, which is a fast-paced city, especially coming from SAC.
Always moving.
Fast-paced. So I remember going to Tuskegee, stepping on the campus, and feeling so welcome. They welcome you. They're clapping when you are coming on, which is something else. But they welcome you, and it was like, I have to be back here. This is where I'm supposed to be. And I loved it. I remember going back. I used to wear this FAMU jacket at the time, pink, by Victoria's Secret. They used to have a collegiate collection that they put out for like jackets and sweatpants and stuff. And they did Black colleges one year. So I remember getting like FAMU stuff because FAMU was really popular. They were on College Hill, which I used to watch in high school. That was cool. The kids from black colleges would be going to. But when I got back from Atlanta, when I got back from Tuskegee, I knew I was going to Tuskegee. And that was that. My god brother ended up coming with me as well, Dominic. We grew up together, went to kindergarten together, and we both were like, "Hey, we leaving? You can't."
You can.
Those are the people, not specifically. Those are the people who, and shout out to, I'll just say Miss Compton. Miss Compton, that's my girl. She was the lady who was on my campus pulling us out the class. I remember she was pretty much like, "We need all the black students," and everybody was like, "Why? What do you need them for?" You know what I mean? And we were like, "Yeah, what you need us for? Come on, come get us. Get us out the class now."
Right.
And so she sat us down. She was like, "How many of you guys want to go to college?" We were like, we all raised our hands. We all looking around at each other. Everybody want to go to college. Pressure's on. And then she was like, "How many of you guys want to go to a black college?" We were all like, "Y'all want to go to a black college?" And several of us did. It was about 10 of us, from the school. I had so many friends uh, from high school who went. But she said, "How many of y'all want to go to college, black college?" We said, "We do, we do." She said, "Where you want to go?" She started pointing around, asking us, asking us. I remember some guy was like, "I want to go to Truth University." And at the time, Stomp the Yard had just came out, and Truth University was in Stomp the Yard, but it wasn't a real school.
Right.
So we kind of roasted them.
Yeah,
That's not a real school.
Unfortunate.
At least you did on a movie that
You got educated after, after the torment.
But being able to step foot on the campus actually and see something that I had never seen before, knowing that it was Black excellence and not having no idea what I was really about to embark on, truly, was what forced me to come back. I loved it. I had to. Yeah, that was it.
Okay, you were kind of getting into our next question, which is, could you explain to the viewers what your college journey looked like, and what did you learn about yourself, or what did you learn about the world as you were chasing after that degree?
Absolutely. So my college journey was extremely unique. I graduated at 17, left Sacramento, moved from Sacramento to Tuskegee, Alabama, and at the time I was majoring in biology. I remember getting to the school and opening up the curriculum because I really had no idea what I was doing. This is the first grandchild on both sides of my family to go to college, especially a black college. I have cousins that are older than me, younger than me, but nobody's like, really doing this like this. And my parents did college later on, like when I was in college. And
Big.
because I didn't know what was going on, I was dropping classes. I looked at that biology curriculum and I was like, I can't do this. I was extremely intimidated. I was like, science, which is ironic now. Science, I hate science. I don't want to do none of this, And so I remember switching, which I did great. Like that first semester in science was the only reason why, like, it kept me really afloat. A lot of my just college progress. But I was intimidated. I didn't believe in myself, and I ended up switching my major to occupational therapy. Occupational therapy at Tuskegee is a 5-year degree. You end up getting a master's by the end of it. And at the time, I was 17, so I was like, I'll be 22 with a master's. Let me, get out of here and just do my thing. I didn't know shit. Right? My heart wasn't in it. At the time, I was just happy to be out of Sacramento.
Yeah.
Right? How many people want to get out of here? How many people want to go to a black college? We was happy to be there. Grades were good, but I wasn't sure how to do school. So when a class got hard, I remember getting on the president's dean's list my first semester, and then my first year as well. But I thought I was cool. I was like, oh, this is I remember dropping classes. Oh, I don't want to do this. This is hard. I'll just do it, another time. Not knowing as time is going on and I'm getting more and more comfortable, which means less and less attentive to my work, and then in the realm of working, being a young person and paying bills, that I am so behind. Like, I have dropped all these classes and didn't make them up. There was no summer school here. You know what I mean? I wasn't coming back and making it up over the summer. I was behind. And before I looked up, all my friends were graduating and I was nowhere close. And that was a horrible feeling because I was the first person on both sides of my family to go to college, you know, and then I went to a black college and everybody's watching.
There's these expectations.
And it's pressure. Wow. You know, so I'm not telling nobody. I'm like,
hey, Furba.
I'm not. I'm not doing you. I'm not making it. I was out there doing a lot at Alabama State. Alabama State, I did pretty well. My GPA boosted up pretty well, and I was like, you know what? Let me drive back home this summer. I'm going back home. I remember driving back home, and got back home, and I was like, I think I'm gonna just stay home. Like, let me just, I'm here. I just brought all my stuff back here. I put all my stuff in storage and, figure that out. But let me just stay here. And I think I'm going to just, transfer back home and just finish out at home. I don't know. I just felt like I needed to stay in California. So, I didn't, at the time I was still communications. And so I remember applying to East Bay and the Sac State. And I got into both. I used to say both the same kind of
CSU system.
So I was like, I'm gonna just stay in Sacramento because I got, I think I can afford it better here. I started working for the state, and then I went to Sac State. I was working for 97.5, interning for them for a little bit. So anyway, um,
internships.
97.5. I worked for 107.9, I think, or 106.5 now. They're called. There's some rock station. That was interesting. Through iHeart. Started a podcast called The Melanin Room, and thought I wanted to just be on the radio and just, whatever. At Sac State, I think they didn't have when I was at Alabama State, it was TV and radio broadcasting, specifically in communications. But they didn't have that at Sac State, so I changed it to mass communications. And in mass communications, we just like learned about so many different things. Oh my gosh, I'll have another conversation offline about that. But so many different things. I learned I was a horrible communicator, for one. I thought I was a great communicator, taking communications classes and learning about different facets and how to communicate and, you know, uh, what nonverbal communication is, how we do that more than anything, and how, to just, I don't know, communicate, essentially. Um, I was at Sac State and a tragedy happened in my family. I had a cousin who ended up stabbing my uncle to death in Baltimore, well, kind of the outskirts of Baltimore, Maryland. And he was my age. We're like kind of same age. And I remember at the time I was at Sac State, I was president of this organization called Cooper Woodson College Enhancement Program, which shout out to CWC. They're an organization that helps Black students move through Sac State. You get a $350, probably $400 now, book scholarship every semester. You get set up with a mentor, and you're in a family program.
Vital.
But I didn't know what I was doing. I was coming from that black college, so everybody was like, "That's that girl from Tuskegee, so she gonna, you know what I mean?
She gonna handle it."
And I really didn't know what I was doing. I was just out here just trying to figure it out. But when my uncle got killed, I left school for a while. I went to DC to the DC, Maryland area to the funeral, and then came back, and I didn't. I just didn't do good. I don't know. I kind of failed. So I just looked up and I was like, I gotta get my shit together. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. At the time, I was 25. And I was like, I need to get this shit together. Like, what am I doing? Like, what do I want to do? I don't have that much longer left. I think I had a year left in school, but I really wanted to go back to Tuskegee. This was 2018. Went back. had no money because they was like, we ain't paying for it, and you're old now. You done exhausted all your student.
And that's real. They give you a limit.
I had no idea.
It's an investment.
Pay out forever.
And that's what they don't tell you. It's an investment. Like college is an investment in the student. So they're going to give you money. They're going to give you grants. But if you're not doing what they expect you to do, they have every right to pull that away, which is ridiculous. But it's an investment, and it makes you realize like the world ain't no joke. Like when they say this is the deadline, this is the deadline. When they say do this because you agreed to it, you got to do that because you agreed to it, and it just helps you better understand like the reality of the world.
I feel like I needed to get a little bit more intentional just about my life. I felt embarrassed that I felt embarrassed that somebody in our family like could do something, in my opinion, that was just really like crazy.
That's traumatic.
And it was all on the news in Maryland. They were calling it one of the worst things ever, and it was horrible to watch my family go through that and to go through it myself. I had to get intentional, and I said, you know what? I think I want to go back to Tuskegee. I called Dr. Rowe. I said, hey, I want to go back to Tuskegee. Can you help me out? And he was like, all right, I'll give you a contact. Give me a contact. And which was the admissions people. I could have honestly
got that offline. Hey, it makes it easier when you feel like somebody.
And he was there to help motivate, because he believed in me. It's like, okay, you're going to go back to school and do this, then do this, At the time, I had been doing, while I was in Sacramento, a lot of stuff just around the community already. I was working for a lady in her organization called Water for Women. We were helping Black women around Sacramento do different things, specifically in Oak Park. And that was really like, I loved it. That was really fun. Something else, I ran for Miss Black Sacramento while I was here in between that time. And that was really interesting because I got to connect with so many young ladies, so many other women, and then also just be like forever in like this sisterhood in Sacramento of like Black pageantry. I don't know. Yeah. It was interesting. I also was in the Young Entrepreneurs Academy with the Sacramento Black Chamber of Commerce. And all these things were like scholarship oriented. So I was trying to get money, for school and keep stuff up, but also getting really, I didn't realize at the time, integrated in Sacramento. Yeah. Really. So look up, I said, I think I want to go back. Went back. I went back, and at the time, I don't know. I still really didn't know what I was doing. I got back thinking, okay, I'll be able to start this semester. I got back, they were like, yeah, your grades are cool, you can start, but you have no more money. So how you gonna pay for this? And I said, what?
Money, everything.
I'm already here. Applied for scholarships, worked for AmeriCorps for a year. That was insane because you don't make no money working for AmeriCorps.
And then they hit you with a stipend at the end that they tax.
That they tax you on, bro. That they tax you on.
They shady.
That is so crazy. Like, I could not believe that. I could not believe that. I still can't believe that. Anyway, finished up at Tuskegee. And AmeriCorps paid for a year, but my last year started in 2019 and concluded in 2020, which is right when that pandemic was, boiling. And I had to pay for that year. I don't remember. I remember writing alumni, like getting hundreds of alumni's emails and, just, hey, I'm trying to finish this last semester. I don't got no money. Can you donate like $100, anything? And so I had people who were donating to me. People started just donating and helping me out, and somehow my first semester ended up getting paid for because God is good.
And that's crazy that you said that because I'm reading this book called The Power of Focus, and they said just in one of the laws of attraction is asking, and then when you ask, some people naturally just are willingly to give or naturally willing to help.
And I'm telling you,
speak out, advocate.
And at that time, tuition had gone up because, it took me some time. I came back. So it was about $14,000 a semester
for tuition.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
And when you break that down by month, you
Units
got to
and classes and hours, man. Like, hold on, this class costs what?
Yeah, and just like this desire to just get through. I gotta get through. So then I remember January comes around, and I had this class called, God, that shit is crazy. I had this class called Genetics and Society where we learned about vaccines and patents and
right around this time too.
all this shit. And it was a class that was in concurrency with UCLA. So we used to be on Zoom with them and they were on Zoom with us and yada, yada, yada. The school sent us to UCLA for a week and I was the student advisor because I'm the oldest one.
Age help.
I was the oldest one. Everybody like 21, 20, 18, whatever. And I think I was like 26, 27. I don't know. But we go down, and I remember at this time it's like January, late January. And it's people who've never been on a plane from Alabama, people who've never been to California.
Travel
and I'm like, come on, y'all. And we're walking through the airports, and, I see like certain ethnicities with masks on, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And, I'm kind of used to seeing some people from different backgrounds wear masks around large groups. But the girls on the trip were like, they had masks on. I was like, why y'all got these masks on?
Right.
And they're like, you didn't hear there's something breaking out. And I'm like, no, you guys just never traveled before. Like, it's not that bad.
I don't know what you want. Just get on the flight.
Come on, let's just go.
Just get on the flight, bro.
So we fly out there, and UCLA was a really dope experience. We got to be in their labs, all that stuff. Come back, and literally a week later, it was spring break. We go on spring break. And I didn't go home because I can afford it. And I was like, let me just say it's just a week. I only got a couple more weeks left, and then I'm graduating.
Right.
This shit is taking me for fucking ever. This one has been. I gotta go. So I'm planning and just like, yeah, let me just whatever. And then the school's like, we're gonna give you guys another week of vacation. We don't really know what's happening right now.
Trying to get adjusted.
So I said, cool. I remember being in Tuskegee looking up flights, Atlanta to Sacramento. Flights have they've got a lot more affordable in Sac. I don't know what's been happening. More expansion.
Southwest.
Airlines. Oh, that other airport. That's more expansion. But at some point, it used to be hella expensive to fly in and out. You better fly to San Francisco than out of here, especially if you go to school outside the state. And so I looked up, and tickets the next day, round trip ticket was $75 from here to Sacramento.
I can do that. Yeah. I can make that happen.
I said, let me get out of here. I get out of here Monday. It was, Sacramento, California, pre-COVID. By the end of the week, Newsom had shut down everything. 6 feet apart, 10 p.m. curfew, no school, no work, no this. People are talking about martial law, and this was only happening in this state. You were terrified. Everybody was terrified. We were like, what the fuck is going on? We gonna die.
People taking all the toilet paper had me
There was
pissed
no
off.
toilet paper.
It was nothing.
Oh my God.
Like, come on, that's greedy. How we all supposed to be clean if you the cleanliest? You still gonna get dirty.
There was nothing in the shelves. And I was doing Instacart at the time. When I was doing Instacart in Alabama, I was making upwards of $4,000 a month, which is insane. Donald, isn't it?
Thinking about self-contracted.
Where we, you know what I mean?
I love it.
Pre-COVID, but unless you got like you're good now. Yeah, my cousin, she's on a good level with it too. She's bomb. I'm like,
yeah, I love it still.
Yeah.
But anyway, came back to Atlanta because you always gotta fly into Atlanta and then drive back to Alabama, and I came back to a place where they said the virus doesn't exist and all this stuff, and it was terrifying because I had roommates who were Southerners.
To go from one reality to
a complete
another.
opposite. In fact, in Alabama, they said the virus does not exist here. Alabama is a state that is a poor state. compared to a lot of majority states in the country. So the testing capabilities don't exist, which meant, so much happened healthcare wise. Being in a place, graduating from Tuskegee University, taking that genetics and society class where we learned about bioethics. Most of our classes, like general ed classes, are in the bioethics building. When you're talking about how you treat people, the Tuskegee syphilis study, where they literally use black men. I still know people and families to this day
for
who
40 and
affected
50 years without telling them,
without telling
just to see
them,
what the
bro.
results look like. Like that's just
And the people who did that, the organization behind that, is today now known as the CDC. So now the CDC, for those of us who know our history, it was popping and living in Tuskegee while the pandemic popping off, which is nuts. Now they're talking about vaccines.
historically discriminatory.
Was insane. It was devastating because at the time I was just ready to graduate. I wanted my family to be there. I wanted them to be proud of me. I wanted, all this to happen. You guys finally come down. I did a lot of community work while I was in Tuskegee as well. You asked me a question about my uncle earlier and that how did that affect me, I believe. I started a mental health organization in Tuskegee called Rise. Me and several other people, resonating, thank you, in a safe environment. Because while I was out there, Stephon Clark got killed. You guys went to Sac High?
Yeah.
Where y'all graduated?
Well, I graduated.
Yeah, neither of us graduated from Sac High. We both transferred.
Okay.
I graduated from Burbank though.
Yeah, and I graduated Kennedy 2017.
Okay.
So we would have been class of 2017.
But I had a homegirl who went to to Sac High, and her and Stephon Clark used to date. She went to Tuskegee. Mm-hmm. So when all that popped off, she was devastated. And we led a big ass protest in Tuskegee, because they was protesting out here, and we were protesting out there, and we got the students in on it. And then, my cousin had called me a couple weeks later because one of her friends got killed at the park in Curtis Park, shot by these police on some crazy stuff, and it was just so much death happening around me. I don't know, but started a mental health organization, and I didn't want people to be affected and to ever have somebody in their family snap, knowing that, dang, this could have been prevented if people would have opened up their motherfucking mouths.
And that somebody asked why one more time.
No, for real.
Giving people that space and that opportunity, whether they use it or not, you still have to provide it because maybe one day they do want to use it.
And in a place like the South, they tell you to pray about it. And I'm from Sacramento, California. Ain't nobody telling me to just go pray about it.
They do something about it.
But for real. And you pray, but you pray and
take action.
You don't. So, yeah. Just a lot going on. But ended up finishing up at Tuskegee. And I know this is a long question. Sorry.
No, it's okay. You're taking us through a journey, and that's what people need to see is it's not it's society pushes on you that it's 4 years, but who said you're supposed to be done in 4 years? That's a capitalist idea, so that way you can get back into the workforce and you can make them more money. So if your journey took a left, took a right, took a U-turn, it's about how do you get back on track and how do you stay focused. And your journey is showing that, regardless of what happened externally, internally, personal, community-wise, it affected you. It had an impact, but regardless, you still sought to see it through and make it happen. And that's admirable because it's not a perfect world. And everybody's situation may not look like this, but how do you persevere and connect with people that have that same experience?
And your story, too, can possibly help the next person. Black person at that, when you more specific. Real specific.
Hey, real specific, man.
For real. For real.
We love the journey.
No, thank you. I thank God though, because it was so many things that I even learned about that. I felt so depressed when no one could come to my graduation. It took me 10 years to fucking graduate this bitch.
Right.
Everybody asking me.
You did it, though.
Well, thank you. But I just be like, but
at the time.
And it was like, we had to do the graduation on Zoom. I went up to Baltimore, DC. I was with my cousin. No, we were in Baltimore. And just did the graduation up there. And, it was cool, but it wasn't the same. And I felt like I wasn't recognized.
Yeah.
But I had to learn something. And I really feel like the class of 2020, anybody who had anything going on in 2020, it's not even necessarily about that recognition, but about the fact that you got that done. And that has had to be something that I have had to just be like, okay, it's not about the recognition for me. It's not about that, did this shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you did it, and not everybody can do it. It's not about everybody, but it's about you. My dad, going back to my dad goes on these interviews, and I would be like, Dad, were they impressed with you? Did they like, what you did? Mm-hmm. He was like, I don't know if they were impressed with me. I was impressed with myself.
Yeah.
And he is that quick with it, And I've developed that attitude of, okay, yeah, I don't really care if other people are impressed. I have to be like, okay, yeah, you did that. And there came a point in my life as I moved on, when I got my master's, I was like, dang, I really did this. This is something I never thought I would do. I did this in science. I ended up moving to Atlanta after I graduated and worked for the Department of Veteran Affairs at the hospital, VA hospital. This was still during COVID in 2020 and 2021 is when I moved back to SAC. But was working there, and there's so many alumni in Atlanta. Shout out to Atlanta. Everybody partying. I mean, I love it. We getting money, but so many people are partying. And it's like, when we were in Tuskegee, we were doing so much building. When I was in Sacramento, I was doing a lot of building. But I'm like, I got to get to something. I can build in Atlanta, but Atlanta is also a different vibrational place. It's a little different. And I did build in Atlanta, but I was happy to live there. I feel like every Black person should live in Atlanta for at least 1 year of their life. Just once. You should just have that opportunity.
Just see what that look like.
You have to.
I saw DC.
You have to.
DC fire. DC fire.
Would you live in DC?
Oh, DC.
I don't know.
You're talking about DC. I thought you were talking about DC Young Black.
No.
I love DC. DC is my favorite East Coast city. Black as hell. I'm from the capital of California, which is outside of any other city when it comes to power and making it happen. It's DC.
Yeah.
But DC is black.
It's for sure.
And it's old. I love that. You got to go.
Yeah,
the first time I went to DC was for my uncle's funeral, and I flew in by myself, and my family was like, meet me here and such. So I was on the subway, and we were in Maryland, but you cross over and you're in DC somehow. Or DC and in Maryland. We got to a point where we were in Union Station, the middle area, and that shit was black as hell, and I had never seen anything like that.
It's 100%, bro. It's almost 98.9.
Where the
fuck is black out there?
Yeah.
And they say it's not as black as it used to be.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
I saw it when I went to Howard. I got to go see Howard, and I'm going to just say that experience there, that food I got there on Caribbean night.
Oh,
on that Thursday.
Nice.
Yeah, they whipped it up.
Needs to do that. We need a Caribbean night.
Yeah, we need something special.
That is dope. But wrapping up, I moved to Atlanta and looked up and was like, I really want to get another degree. My GPA was trash coming out of undergrad, so I need to look for a bridge program. And I looked, and Morehouse School of Medicine had an online bridge program. You got to do it for 6 weeks.
Which is crazy because Morehouse undergrad is all men, correct?
Yeah. Yes. So when I tell people I go to Morehouse School of Medicine or graduated from there, they'll be like, what? And I'm like, oh, yes.
The grad program.
And so I say the medical school is mostly women, 75% women actually, but the which is dope. But the college across the street is definitely all boys, all male. But I looked up, and Morehouse had a program in health informatics and biotechnology, and I was looking into what these were. And the biotechnology was specific to creating different medicines, creating different medical devices, which is patents and medicine and knowing molecules. And it was intriguing to me because I'm like, well, we're creating vaccines right now.
That's the trend, and it ain't gonna go away.
Like, I want to know what's popping, especially graduating from Tuskegee. Like, I want to know who's doing what. So I ended up applying for the program, their bridge program. And the thing with their bridge program is if you did well, you show up every day, you pass the program, then you get automatic acceptance into the master's program. You also get a little bit of a scholarship. So I'm like, I need to get in this program. I need to do this. I applied. I was like, I'm going to get in. I'm going to do fine. I'm going to do great. I applied. What student is calling me? I applied, and I was waiting. I had a friend come in from Miss Kelsey's. Remember that little preschool?
Yeah.
He flew in to Atlanta. He was like, hey, I want to come visit you. I'm like, all right, come in. Yeah. So this week I'm waiting, or whatever. Comes in, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get my decision back this week. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. I get it, and I got rejected. And I'm devastated. I'm embarrassed. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'd already manifested it. I already took pictures in front of the school and shit, doing hella extra shit. Really trying to bring this into fruition.
She said, no, I'm going to make this happen.
And so I was so depressed for like this whole weekend. Like, he was there for about a week. But over the weekend, I was just like, I can't believe this. I didn't get it. And so he's like, let's go talk to my aunt and uncle. Let's go to their house. They graduated from Morehouse and Spelman. Let's just go over there, talk to them. I said, okay. So I just went over. We went to their house, sat around, ate, talked to them. And they were like, the aunt was like, she was so dope. The aunt was so dope. They were like, just appeal. Just write an appeal. Just appeal it. Ask them to just reconsider.
Tell them why they're wrong.
And I was like, really? Should? She was like, yes, you should. And I was like, okay. So I went home and I I sent him an email and I said, hey, can you please reconsider my application? I'm not the student that I once was. Because, I told you I had the multiple 2 semesters worth of F's on my transcript. Nobody wants to see that. Yeah. You know what I mean? I was able to definitely put my GPA up, but it wasn't, it still wasn't good enough.
The GPA doesn't provide context.
I know. It sure doesn't. It really doesn't. It doesn't tell you about what happened and what you were trying to do. But when it comes to being excellent and moving forward and just even the way the world's going right now, they don't care about that. You got to push forward. Push forward. Whatever it is that you guys are doing, because while it doesn't provide context, it's like, that's why I love my HBCUs. Like, they will give you a chance. So I wrote and I was like, please reconsider. Like, I really want to, that is not me. And so they were like, okay. I had already been in touch with the dean because I was going to different like meetings and outreach things, trying to, really get connected. And so I think she recognized, like, because we're really like this now. She's so dope. But I think she recognized my name or whatever. Because originally they were like, okay, send us a letter telling us why. And I'm like, I write another letter. I just wrote you all this letter telling you about my life.
They said, tell us a little bit more.
So I look up the next day, and it was just automatic acceptance. And I was like, oh my God.
We in the door.
What the hell? And so I just, thank you guys. Thank you. But like, I just remember being like, oh my gosh. That excitement. And that was that. And I knew, I said, well, you know what? God gave me this opportunity. I'm here. It took me fucking forever to graduate undergrad. So I don't want to fuck this up living in Atlanta.
Not to cut you off. Mm-hmm. So do you think if it wasn't for her telling you to go back and appeal that, would you have done it?
I don't think so.
Ooh.
I don't think so.
It's big.
I don't think so. And it's kind of crazy because me and the dude fell out. And I was like, we didn't fall out. It just didn't work out. But I was really hurt behind that. Mm-hmm. But I've learned like different things are for different reasons. Yeah. You know, you have to look at things sometimes on twofold. And so if he didn't come into my life at that time and didn't come and sit around and, you know, let's go to my people and figure it out, and they didn't give me that extra boost, who knows? You know, I don't think I would have appealed that because I didn't believe in myself like that. You know, I really didn't, which is why I tell students that you got to do what you got to do. Like, for real. You never know. You never know. So yeah. Okay. Came back to Sacramento, did the program, graduated in December, and I'm here now. I was actually being kind of like followed by NYU since I started the bridge program that summer. Mm-hmm. With the bridge program, we had a group project, and group projects are MF, especially when we're on Zoom. People are on different parts of the country.
Different
we
timing.
Gotta be, you know, and we're supposed to be here for a set time. People don't have the same ideas. So my group was getting really frustrated, but I was like, come on, y'all, let's work together. And there was this guy who was the professor, one of these professors from NYU. He was like, I really like your attitude. I really like, you know, I really want you to consider applying for one of our fellowships. He told me this back in 2021. Mm-hmm. And so I come back and I start my grad program January 2022. I'm out in New York at Columbia doing research. Last summer, that was amazing.
Yeah, that is the business card.
Through the United Negro College Fund. Y'all tap in with them and stay tapped in because they have a lot of opportunities. Just like, I don't know.
Stay connected.
Just stay connected. But yeah, other than that, out here was going to go to NYU, gonna go back to New York, and work with these people. The guy, he is responsible for 70% of the vaccines being on the market. And for me, that was like my dream because that's the reason why I got into biotech. I wanted to know what the hell was going on with these vaccines. They give the approval, the yay or nay. And it's interesting because I was getting really nervous about working with these people and just different like institutions, especially institutions as old as Columbia, which I believe they're 1754. And right, and we wasn't on that campus. When you know when we was walking around on that campus, it was about 50 of us last summer. They were looking at us crazy, you know. And it wasn't intimidating because of that reason, but it was the fact that Columbia is excellent. You know, it just is. And they have plenty of Black students and plenty of students that aren't necessarily just white. They have a lot of diversity on their campus for real. But it was different. It's different. God has different plans. I didn't see myself being a teacher. That's just what I wanted to end with. Right. You know, going through all this, I was like, man, I'm going to get this degree in my tax bracket. I'm going to do this and blah, 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 blah. And I'm still going to do that, you know. But right now, like, I just feel like what I'm doing is where I'm supposed to be at. And I have friends who are like, you teach, you know, your degree is worth way more than that. Why are you teaching? Our kids need us right now, for real. A lot of them do. So that's just that.
It's really just understanding, like, teaching is beyond just the work. It's inspiring that youth and giving them that feeling that they can do it early on. And like you talked about earlier, if you get that early on, it encourages you. It's something you can often reflect back to when you're like, hey, I'm not feeling the best, but I did this, so I know I can get through this. Mm-hmm. It might just take some extra work.
Absolutely.
Or an extra person will come along to give you that extra push to help you reach that next potential.
For real.
Or just says that you can do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Literally. All you need is a little bit of
Your story is just, it's hard not to listen. Because you've been so many places, you've been in so many spaces, mentally, physically, environmentally, and just adjusting and adapting. And that's common in our community, but it's something that we want to highlight specifically on this podcast because you never know what another person's going through, how they got here, and then you might be able to look at your own story like, hey, if they did it, I know I can do it. I can use this as inspiration or letting another person know it gets better. So,
and I just really thank you for saying that because I went to church today. I went to two churches today. I haven't been to church in a minute, and it was crazy. I went to this Catholic church that one of my coworkers invited me to. Um, Interesting experience, different. But they talked about kindness. They said if you practice a little bit of kindness, that leads to blindness of narrow-minded people on narrow-minded streets. And I was just like, okay, you know. And I was sitting there and I was like, kindness. And I've heard people tell me this week because I feel like I can be kind of hard on myself because of my journey. I'm like, I'm 30. I'm supposed to be here. It's supposed to be happening. It's not happening like that, you know. And I don't like that, you know. But I'm learning really this week, especially
always learning
to be kind to myself, you know, to do that. And then when I went to church again, I went to COP, Center of Praise downtown. I got in there and the pastor said 4 times about being kind. He just repeated the word kind.
That's the way kind,
kind. And I was like,
the Lord trying to tell you something.
I said, okay. So, not spiel, but practicing like kindness and stuff like that.
And before you get on to that next question, brother, one thing I want y'all to understand and to really highlight and focus on when she's talking about her journey is her fight. It was a lot of things that was sent her way, the rejection, the tragedy in the family. It was a lot of things that was really sent her way to kind of like throw her off path or to really, that could have really changed her whole journey. But instead, strong minded, strong mental, she stuck through it and then she still made a way and still got that degree. So just make sure you keep fighting along your journey because a lot of things are temporary.
The next question is, how did you get interested in becoming a doula, and how was that experience for you?
Wow. Wow. Very interesting. I was working for Water for Women here in Sacramento, and I was working for a lady who became a doula. And so I was 25 at the time, and I was about to be heading back, and I was around so many women in Sacramento, so many different women.
The doula.
Thank you. Yeah. So I was in Sacramento around so many women who were just very inspiring. And first off, there's a church that I would recommend you guys to check out. It's called Wose. It's a Kemetic church. They have one in Oakland, Los Angeles, and Sacramento. I have not been to Wose in a minute, but we talking about churches. I guess I can bounce out there next week or something. We would do a lot of ancient like meditation. It's not your traditional church. It's really like Black spirituality and Black practices, and I loved it. We would do this thing at Wose where we would just embrace one another. But I remember there was a lady who had like 9 children, and we used to like really just clap and like. There was this one time I think she walked into the room. All her kids, and then she has these locks, and her locks are not the traditional locks, and her kids' locks are not traditional locks. So it's just a beautiful sight to see, in my opinion. When she walks in with her like tribe. I remember we were at the African Marketplace, 24th and Florence, and we were doing, I don't know what we were doing, but she walked into one of the rooms, and we all like got on our knees and were kneeling and just like patted the floor, and it was this honoring of a mother and somebody who can bring so many children into the world and really recognizing the sacredness behind that. So I remember before I left back to Tuskegee, this lady was like, you really need to check out womanhood, like being a doula. She didn't say a doula, but she said you need to look into birthing. So glad you asked it. So you need to look into birthing. I said, okay, we'll see. my dad was on me at the time when I was at Sac State. He was like, "Well, shit, you're going back to Tuskegee. You need to do something in STEM." And I was like,
"It pays."
No. And he was like, "Yeah." He said, "You see these other groups running around here? You think, their parents is telling them to do this, and you think they like doing it? But it pays off in the long run, doesn't it? You got to challenge yourself, don't you?"
Right.
So I'm like, okay. So I had ended up at the time switching to health sciences from communications for one. So now I'm back in this world of health and science and stuff like that, or was about to, emerge back into that. And so they say you really need to check that out. So I started looking into just like healthcare, maternal health, and the South had horrible rates. I didn't realize of Black women just dying during pregnancy, like straight up dying. Like, what the hell?
Not making it through.
What is happening?
Very traumatic.
Very traumatic, and it just doesn't make sense. Why is it that we are 4 times likely Black women in this country? This is like worse than third world country rates, you know? Why is it that we are more likely to die when giving birth? That just did not settle well with me. And I think when I was back in Alabama, it was Tuskegee's very spiritual. Rosa Parks was born in Tuskegee. Dr. George Washington Carver taught and died on that campus. Tuskegee. Booker T. Washington, who was the most powerful Black man of his time, between him and WB.
The boy.
He led on that campus at a young age and died on campus as well. So it's like, it's a lot of, when I got back there, shit was crazy. It was like I was supposed to go back there and do what I was doing. When I got back there, I got back in 2018. And in 2017, midwifery had just been made legal. Midwifery, being a midwife, was illegal in the state of Alabama and in Georgia. But, going back to Tuskegee, I was health science major, and I was still just looking into birthing and just different things. I was taking summer school at Tuskegee. My first time doing summer school there, just coming back in, I started that summer and then continued in the fall. And so I remember I had to do an article about something. I don't remember what, or not do an article, do a paper about something. And I had to do some research around health or something along the lines of that. And I remember AL.com, Alabama.com, had a magazine article because I literally was just posting about it in the group that I'm in Tuskegee still. That said, young, Black, and poor, the worst statistics to being a mother in Alabama. And I was furious when I saw that because I was young, I was 25, I'm Black, and I was poor. I didn't have no money. I'm trying to graduate and get a degree, figure it out. And I live in Tuskegee, and Tuskegee, while it is beautiful, Macon County, Alabama, but especially an all-Black county, they gonna make sure Tuskegee used to be, that's a whole nother conversation, but system shit, and I don't know what it used to be. I don't know, but people always tell me
how it used to be,
how it was, and how this and that, and it wasn't that long ago, So I don't know. I don't know. While I was out there, I was just so disturbed by that, and I started looking into becoming a doula. The lady who I worked for, Water for Women, Jamie, she was a doula, and I was like, okay, I want to look into this. Being a doula, you don't have to have a formal certification. However, I don't know shit about birth. I ain't no mom. You know what I mean? This is,
new territory for real.
So I said, I want to look this up. And so for any women who are interested, or men interested in being doulas, which I definitely encourage, we definitely need more male doulas. And not even necessarily to go around catching babies for all these women, but if you have friends who become dads, you can teach them how to, and your family or whatever. I remember being in that doula class with Donna and like telling them like I don't want to die during childbirth. And like at the time, I think they kind of like laughed because I think they thought I was being like joking or something. But I was so serious. That's something I don't want to have happen. Got back to Tuskegee and realized that there were actually a lot of doulas in Tuskegee. There's a lot of doulas in Tuskegee. And for some reason, I had a huge doula page. It was Keyah, the natal naturopathic. That's my business. That's still out there. And so this lady found me, this midwife from Oakland. And she was like, hey, I'll pay you to get your like midwifery assistant. I want you to come with me because I'm white. And these people don't know me, but I want to help give birth to these women out here. And Christine Likas, midwife Christine. She was from Chicago, came to Oakland to do her midwife stuff, and then was down in Alabama for a little bit. And we started kind of moving, Not only that, but I got connected with all of the doulas in Tuskegee. There were 4 of us, 2 younger, 2 older. My old roommate at the time, we became roommates. We just went into business together. We started Rise, as well as we were doulas. Yeah. So like we were doula. It was crazy. Like I'm not even kidding you. Like that second trip to Tuskegee was something else, But like we were making shit happen in the community, truly and really. And when it came to mental health, just like different things. We had classmates who got killed while we were out there, who got shot, or this was 2020. So shit started popping off. We're in a red state. I lived in Tuskegee off and on for 10 years. I never seen no bullshit popping in Alabama. They were leaving burnt crosses, Like times were different. For real. I forgot to mention while I was in Alabama, I worked for the House of Representatives for 2 years as an intern. And I served on the Urban and Rural Development Committee as well as the Health Committee. Alabama was the first state to pass the abortion law, making it illegal to have an abortion in Alabama. And that was so interesting being a doula because I do welcome babies in the world. Definitely. Proudly. Yeah. But, I also, people have stuff going on that ain't none of my damn business, and men, white men especially, shouldn't be able to say shit about anybody's bodies, especially women's bodies. For real. So it was interesting because I was a doula during that experience as well. But one thing that I will say too is just interesting too is like the connection with women, you're pretty much as a doula like your best friend, I take clients about 36 weeks and on, and so I'm with you toward the end of your pregnancy, your entire labor and delivery process, and a little bit of the postpartum. They have different doulas. You can be like like a labor doula, like a general doula. You can be a postpartum doula, which my roommate, that's what she was. And so she goes and pretty much will live in the house for about 2 weeks. And she does everything that the mom would do. She cleans, she cooks, she does laundry, she feeds the child, or, doesn't feed the child, mom feeds the child. Right. But, prepares the meal. She does everything so that the mom can be in her best element to mentally be there to raise her kid. Because a lot happens, during pregnancy and delivery and all that stuff. They also have what's called bereavement doulas, which is like if you are pregnant and you've lost the baby, that's a loss, and so you might need people to help you. Not might, you don't need somebody to help you get through that. When I was in Alabama, I almost worked for the Alabama prison doulas because they have women in prison who are pregnant. And Alabama, that system is different. Okay, so like when you go to give birth in Alabama, it's just you, the guard, and the doctor. Like, and then they take the baby. You don't touch it, right? And you go back to prison.
What? No interaction?
And that is
foul.
That's horribly mind-blowing.
Foul.
So I have to think about this more. Like, oh gosh, because I feel like I can't say stuff like that and not like see how that can be popping out here.
Yeah,
you know, gotta look into that. But yeah, I knew that I want to have a baby one day. I want to be in the best position to do that. I would like to give birth naturally at home.
Would you do a water birth?
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like that's the best way. I feel like that's the best way. I heard it's a lot less painful. Was you getting the water?
Yeah.
Okay, good,
I
good.
Donald's
Donald's not getting the water. Donald's not getting that water.
Sick as hell. No, you got it. I'll be outside like holding it. You know, I don't know. Something, you
I
know.
want to be right there when it come out.
That's future for real.
For real, you should look into being a doula. I want to say a little bit of my research. All of my research when I was getting my master's program was around pregnancy outcomes. I'm interested in getting my PhD, so my work doesn't stop there necessarily. When it comes to being a doula, I would like to get back into that a little bit later on in life, but right now I really am more on like the science aspect of like what is happening in our bodies and how do we find cures for just different things that are happening, different like reproductive issues.
And that's current right now too. Like you said, all the vaccines, all these things that they're creating and try to inject in us. That's so for you to already be in that field to already know.
And what can we create? Because it's like I'll be asking God, like, God, okay, I don't know what you want me to do this degree. I'm gonna get another degree at some point, but like biotechnology, how can I use like biotechnology to like help Black women have better outcomes with pregnancy? That's what I want to figure out still. I'm still on this journey when it comes to the application when it comes to just Black maternal health in general.
Stand for something or fall for nothing. You hear me?
Not a damn thing.
I ain't following.
Facts. Could you explain to the viewers what the Sacramento HBCU Alumni Network is?
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you for asking me about that as well. Wow, I feel like we done talked about a lot.
Yeah,
this is cool.
We touched everything.
SAC HBCU Network. So we are a group of alumni from current students at, former students of, professionals from, and family members of historically Black colleges and universities. And so Donald and I work for an organization, UCAN, established in 1988, that has sent tens of thousands of students to Black colleges. And I don't necessarily say send, but help with the college application, which essentially is sending, to Black colleges. So I moved back to Sacramento because, it took me a long time to get that degree from Tuskegee. Dr. Rowe from UCAN. I say, Dr. Rowe, moving back to Sacramento. What's up with the alumni? Moving back, Sac.
How's that going?
What's happening? And so where's everybody at, as well? And so he was like, we can figure this out, but let's help get some kids to HBCUs. And I said, honestly, I'm down, changed my life dramatically. If I would have stayed in Sacramento at 17, especially just coming from
that upbringing or that environment.
The environment, family, different things. I would be y'all would not know who the hell I was, or you might know who I am for something stupid.
Something different, a different reason. Yeah.
For real. So I said, I'm down. Let's do this. While I was working at UCAN, between like August and January was when I started kind of creating different little businesses and stuff like And one thing that I have different projects that I create. It annoys me sometimes. Like I have I Heart Biotech, and that's a science-based curriculum that I plan to write and sell to different like school districts throughout the country that helps Black students specifically understand science, technology, and agriculture. Being that we're from the farm to fork capital of the country, we need to know how to use this land because the world is getting weird, and they're trying to approve lab grown meat.
Yeah. Oh.
I'm really going to change my diet, bro. I'm really going to change my diet.
SF is starting on that.
That's good to know. Thank
I'm
you.
really big on that too. The diet
Because if you know better, you do better. And it's like I don't want to eat lab grown nothing for real.
Don't play me like
everything
that.
grown, everything organic.
Like for real,
Like I came here, no pause. But I came here for the meat. Like, I don't want the synthetic.
No, for real.
Like don't play me.
No, I'm not saying you can't eat the meat, but if I'm trying to go towards more like chicken and things of that nature.
Healthier protein.
Yeah. I like steak. I'm not gonna lie. I love steak. I like a good steak.
From the pork, the beef, things like that.
Yeah, it's hard. And for real, I'm really gonna challenge myself this month to like just do better. But with the network, we're a group of alumni here, and one of the things that I'm really excited about, I'm glad I moved back. God is good. Like things happen in different like segments and at times for different reasons. Um, there's about 400 of us first off, which is kind of neat between my database and us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We just got a new website, sachbcunetwork.org. So check us out. We are also going to be doing, and y'all should come, pool party at the end of the month, July 29th in South Sac, for our seniors that are going away. It's our senior send-off, as well as just come, network, meet some people. If you are going to Tuskegee, and there's a few of us here in Sacramento from Tuskegee, then meet us if you're going to Grambling. And then not only that, but y'all are the class of 2025 or whatever. No, 26, 27. I don't know what class they is.
2020 something.
They're the class of something. 28 maybe. I don't know. They're the class. And y'all need to know each other. Yeah. I got a chance through UCAN. They used to do picnics, but we got to know people, and I'm still connected to all the people from 13 years ago who went to, the Bethune-Cookman or Texas Southern or Shaw or wherever. We're still in, connection, and that's a beautiful thing, and that's something that should happen in the capital city of California. There's no reason why out here, honestly, like that we should not be fucking connected. Like to me, it was like, how do I not know you and you're from Morehouse,
you down the street,
or you're from here, or you're from there, and you are big here. We had a lady. We got so much going on in Sacramento right now. Let me just plug it. We have a lady currently, Dr. Flo Jean, and I cannot remember her last name, so don't kill me. But she's running for mayor of Sacramento, and she's from Spelman. She's the previous epidemiologist for the city. So when COVID was popping off, she was the one who was on TV talking about like this is what's happening and yada yada yada. Or for the county, I believe. So she's running for mayor. We supporting her because there's at least 400 of us that went to a Black college that want to see somebody from a Black college. Want to see somebody, and she's dope. We just had Miss Alana Matthews. She ran for Sacramento County DA. She didn't win the race, unfortunately, but she's from Spelman as well.
Good effort, though.
We have a lady who did win, a Superior Court judge from Howard, Meryl Stockdale Coleman. We got some other people who just are doing some like dope stuff that are in there, and I like to repost, or at least on our social media page. Which, by the way, if anybody listening and went to a HBCU, follow us. If you're good with social media, help me out because, yeah,
we all trying to network.
Yeah, it makes it easier in the long run.
But I want to say, and it does. I want to say I'm glad I moved back because what's being talked about right now is the first HBCU satellite campus coming to California. And that's a big deal, especially with this past week and the Supreme Court passing the law to make affirmative action legal in the college admission process. Now in California,
or
illegal.
Yeah,
Thank you.
illegal.
Now in California, that has not affected us because, to be honest, I thought affirmative action had been illegal like for years.
Yeah, it's been illegal
I was
since
hella
96,
lost.
Prop 209.
However, in the state of California, it's been illegal, and 1,000 pages is a lot of pages.
It's a lot.
When we were at the reparations, people like they were giving the book to different people. People coming up and they were like, "Wow, this really is heavy. Oh my God, it really is heavy." And that kind of got annoying to hear. And I think somebody caught onto that. And they were like, "It's heavy because it's real.
Yeah,
it's heavy because these are our stories." My mom got up at that hearing and spoke. And I thought back on it because, like, my mom, I took mass communications and I, know how to speak. So, like, if I got to get up in front of people and speak, I don't really get in my head like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can, but like I don't try to sound like I don't do the nerves for real.
Yeah.
And my mom was very nervous, and it was just interesting because the people who were going up to the hearing were people who've been coming up and doing this for years, so they're coming up there with some gusto, yelling at people. My mom was up there, she was kind of talking, like kind of trembling, but really just talking, and she talked about our ancestors and where we come from and how we do deserve this. And I thought about it later that day. I called her and I was like, I'm so proud of you, for going up and representing. So the reality is we went up as Black Californians in the most progressive state in the nation, and advocated for ourselves. We've watched so many people come here. I teach ninth grade. I had 135 students last year. I had multiple students who spoke Pashto, Persian, Mexican, Spanish, and Russian. And the reality is, California being a sanctuary state, if we don't advocate for ourselves, we are going to get pushed out.
Yes.
And that's what they are trying to do. And I don't necessarily, when I say they, I'm being careful with that, but the powers that be, whatever that is, do not want to see Black folks, Black foundational Black Americans, parents were, slaves, come from slaves in this country, succeed. So the thing is this: if that man is playing with people and have people take 2.5 years out their life to do this and put this together, and the only state that has ever talked about this in life, I'll be asking old folks, you ever talked to, y'all ever seen this? No, we've never seen this.
Too progressive.
If that guy does not pass that bill,
it's gonna be
sign the bill, it needs to be, we have to advocate for ourselves. Because if we don't, I don't even want to think about what that looks like. I don't want to think about what that looks like. And we don't come from a place of, to me, I said it's pull up and pull out. Somebody said, and I've been hearing it has to be a pull up summer.
Yeah.
But also pull out. And to me, it's pull out of this system and begin to create our own and have our own Netflixes and Disney channels.
Start creating our own platforms.
Pull out to me is systematically, really, we need to get on the same page. They ain't gonna give us nothing in this country. We dying, they shooting us, we welcome other people. You just heard that the US accidentally gave Ukraine an extra $6 billion.
Yes,
like, are you kidding me? And we can't get nothing. We've been here
care of
the
longest,
longest, working for free, getting killed, just no. Helping to build your economy and your political system up.
Crazy.
We have to really, as Black Americans, look at and especially as Black Californians, look at what the hell is going on. And if they don't do that, because this is where that shit started, with even the Black Panthers. Like, that shit was here. It was, you aren't going to treat us like this,
That's why I push ownership though so much. Just for the simple fact that when you own some land, building, that's your name. The only way that they can take that from you, they have to buy it from you. But guess what? You don't have to sell it.
And with HBCU Network, we have community building sessions starting in September. One of the girls in my network, Allie, we went to high school together. She went to Southern. She was like, "Y'all know California's not as expensive as we think it is. When you're in the city, yeah, that shit is expensive as shit. But we put our money together, especially if they get us some reparations."
I've been in Merced, bro. That shit cheap, bro.
Yeah, outer.
That's what I'm saying. If we buy some land and go ahead and start building our own community, then we can make some stuff happen. And that's kind of where I'm at with HBCU Network as far as getting the first HBCU out here. I don't know if you guys have heard of Allensworth, California, first Black town that was purchased by Black people. Like, it's down there by Tulare. I think it's in Tulare County. But even talking about putting an HBCU down there, that shit's nowhere but forget it. You know? Like
Black County.
Black town. Allensworth. But part of what we're doing is bringing education, not even bringing the culture of HBCU, historically Black education culture, to California, because education can be very traumatic here. It can. I work in a school where I had to wrap up the end of the year last year, and I had them for about 3.5 months, and within 3.5 months, I had 4 kids expelled.
Yeah.
2 of them in jail, ankle monitors, and I'm in touch with their families, so I'm advocating for them. I'm calling. I'm in touch with the dad. Back and forth. What's happening? And he really thanked me. He said nobody from the school was with us. Everybody was against us. And when they were all in the news, they put these boys on the news like they were men.
Yeah.
That's the image they want to paint with stuff.
And when you look at education, it's like, it's traumatic. This happened when I went to school, a place where nobody listened to me when I said, something or whatever or anything like that. So part of what we want to do and what I want to see have happen is to encourage people to consider education. But now that it's a possibility that Black college satellite campuses might be out here, I want to stay out here. I want to see Mahiri out here and get my PhD from there. Why do I need to leave my state?
Right, that's fact.
Like, why do I need to leave? Like, we need to. Okay. So that's just a little bit of that. The task force, sending the seniors off correctly, and then community building sessions to see, like, how we gonna do this? Let's get together and let's be like-minded and let's do that. So those will start in September, second Saturdays. For now, I'm probably gonna do them at Roberts Family Development Center. It allows me to use this space. But if not, then I'm gonna use my classroom, which is D6 on the main campus of Grant.
Okay. Gotta make it happen. This is our infamous question, and it really makes people reflect back on like everything that they said here or just your life. But what would you say your definition of a scar that you turned to success?
Ooh. Wow, a scar that I've turned into success. I would just say probably my whole journey of college.
Right.
I failed so many times. I got kicked out of a couple of schools. I was at different states. I was at rival schools. I had, and that's just the surface level.
Tip of the iceberg.
We're not talking about relationships or friendships or family or all that stuff. Like, I learned, and I'm still learning, so it might still be a little bit of a scar. I learned to continue to persevere and to utilize what is around you. To utilize, cast your buckets. That's what Booker T. Washington says. Like, cast your buckets, which means like put your shit down and see what's around you and get to work and work with what you have. And everywhere I was when I was in college, it started off with people helping me, um, But then I got to a point in life where I was like, you know, I got to a point in life where I didn't really understand things. And I knew I wanted to help other people. And not even necessarily help, but I would even go back to the word kind from church. Spread kindness.
That wrap around.
And like also knowing that, you know, setting a goal for yourself is like something that's important. You can do whatever it is that you put your mind to. But it's like I would say this. This is exactly what it is, and I tell my students this. Um, I read this book called The Alchemist. Great book. Let's read it. 88 pages. I have not finished the book. This guy in college, he gave it to me. We were like this, and then we fell out, and I couldn't finish the book because I was like this with him. I need to finish that book for real. It's a great book.
It's a good book. Good book.
The analogy is the spoon and the mansion. This guy was walking around the mansion, this king's mansion. I'll make it quick. Guy walking around the king's mansion, and so he had this spoon in his mouth. The king was like, "Go look at my house. It's beautiful, but while you're looking at it, carry the spoon in your mouth, like the tip of the spoon. I'm gonna put some oil in here, and see ya." So he goes, he walks around. He's like, "Oh my god, this is cool." And then he comes back to the king, and the king's like, "Where's the oil?" And he was like, "Oh, shit, I don't have it." So he goes, "Try it again." So he tries it again. So now he's walking around, and he's just goes to a different part of the house and walking and doing this and doing that. And he comes back, and the king's like, "So what you think?" He's like, "I didn't really see nothing because I had the oil. I was so focused on the oil." The king said the trick is to see what you have in life, to view everything that you can in life while balancing and maintaining, while keeping your spoon filled with oil. And that to me is so deep because I feel like when I was in college, I just had no boundaries. I would just be pulled off here, be pulled off there, and just and then I'd be hurt behind it. All that shit is a choice. You know what I mean? Like those are choices. How focused I am or lack thereof. And then also like, am I going out and seeing the world? Am I going out and being seen or seeing myself? Us from Sacramento, we're amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of us
we got talent.
Don't leave here sometimes, but when we do, we shine.
We do. Right.
Rightly. So I would say the mansion and the spoon effect of like seeing the world while staying focused and staying focused while seeing the world.
Facts. And it's that balance that you really harped on. And, as we continue forth with our ventures and your ventures, we really want people to understand that this is around them, this is near them. There are people with the same motives, the same missions, the same drives, ambitions, all these other things. So we really hope that our viewers take all this information and tap in with you or connect with you or join the alumni network or maybe even get into Doula, something
Absolutely,
like that.
Yes.
Please. So.
Which is natural. A lot of our great grandmothers were doulas because there wasn't no hospitals back in the day, so
they
had
just making
it happen.
For real.
Oh my gosh, this was a good episode. I'm not gonna lie.
So many gems. You dropped so many gems.
Your energy, I love it. What you stand for, I love it. It seemed like you're walking in your purpose right now. God has purpose for you, and it seemed like that's really what you're on. So I just really hope that you achieve
appreciate hearing that. Thank you. No, truly, because I really been talking to God like, God, why you bring me back to Sacramento? Like, what the hell am I doing here? But this week has been very clear, and I just really appreciate ending it on a Sunday, but also beginning it with this.
Yeah, 4th of July coming.
Tuskegee birthday.
New energy for the week.
Great energy for the week.
Great energy.
Okay.
Are we is this the end off?
Yeah. This isn't a goodbye. This is a see you later.
I definitely would like to come back, and I would like to bring some people from Sacramento's HBCU network. But also, I would love for you guys, if possible, to get over to that campus at Grant and talk to some young men or some other students, or I don't even know, but to connect you guys, because the students, they mess with me. So, they definitely would mess with y'all because you guys are, great reflections of Sacramento and our community.
For the culture, for the impact, and that's one thing I even preach is with my own disciplines and my own personal life. It's like the younger generation need guidance. I understand that a lot of them don't have it at home, or just around them, or just there's some of them not even exposed to it. So just even to be exposed to it a little bit can shift the mindset, or shift the person or brain. So I'm all down for it.
And I would say just to enjoy this life, okay? Like, life is hard. It's not getting no easier. But at the same time, don't play with yourself because things are changing. I think seeing what the Supreme Court has done, like, we grew up in a world that is going to look a lot different in the next 30 years or so. And, you know, we're also in California. We also are the progressive people. So it's not like it has to be
we are very
wherever things seem like they may be going. Right. So that's all.
Well, with that being said,
we're wrapping up episode 7.
Thank you. Make sure you like this video, leave a comment, share, do all those great things.
Tell your friends.
Put it out everywhere. I'm gonna put it on our new website.
We appreciate that. Everything you said, we're gonna put in words and everything, so it's gonna be there. Trust.
Thank you, gang. See you on episode 8.
Peace.